He always reviews when he is bored or when he feels he needs to talk. And he talks about Thunderball. Thunderball, the fourth James Bond movie to come out, basically a year after Goldfinger. Like, for a while, it was, James Bond movies came out, like, year after year. It was after Thunderball we got a 2-year gap between You Only Live Twice and On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But Thunderball was the fourth installment in 1965. And as the Bond films go, this is another one that a lot of people, including myself, usually rank on a much higher end of the spectrum when they're talking about Bond movies. It's basically, once again, we are dealing with Spectre, except now we're dealing, I believe number 2 is, Largo, played by Adolfo Celi. And he, like Goldfinger, was kind of setting a unique bar for Bond villains. In the sense that, well, I'll be sure I'm in there. I'm in the frame. No, let me get myself in the frame a bit better. There we go. In the sense that when you think of Bond villains, you think of Goldfinger, but you might not think Largo by name, but you remember that eye patch, the way that accent, that cruel way he talks. You remember Largo. I mean, so much so that Robert Wagner's character in Austin Powers is modeled after Largo, a character with an eye patch, very villainous, all that. And essentially, it is the Spectre has stolen some missiles, and Bond's got to go find them. Thunderball, I do consider Thunderball to be definitely, that's not the best James Bond movie. It's not my favorite, but it is up there in the better half of the James Bond films, in my opinion. Like Goldfinger, it benefits from a really solid pacing of, in terms of film. I will say this, the underwater battle, while fun, anytime we get into a Bond battle where it's a lot of guys fighting in a scenario where you're not talking, and you're just trying to let the action and stuff like that take effect, and you don't even know who is who. Again, Moonraker is an example of that as well. Never Say Never Again. We get to that again. It gets a little jumbled and confusing, if I'm going to be honest. But take that fight out of the equation. We get a cool speedboat fight. A fight on a boat with Largo and Bond at the end. Largo, I will say this, for all the villain deaths in James Bond, and like I said, that's another best or worst video to do at another point in time. But for all the Bond villain deaths, he does have probably one of the most lackluster ones. Just getting shot with a harpoon gun. I was like, but it's a good line though. At the end, it's like, I'm glad he's dead. You're glad. You're glad. Once again, Sean Connery, he really sells this film. Absolutely. He really sells Bond. This was, though, around the time that he was starting to get tired of playing the character. From what I understand, particularly on this one, I think the filming process for him was just not pleasant. For some reason, it was a very arduous filming schedule for him. And I can't remember exactly what the reason behind that really was. And later on, when we talk about You Only Live Twice, I think it really starts to show a little bit. Not to say that, again, he's bad in that movie, but we'll talk more about that when we talk about You Only Live Twice, which is the next movie we talk about. But in this, he's still that charming, suave, can get away with murder time attitude. I particularly love his interactions with the Bond villainess. Oh crap! What? Not Felix Patricia? Is it Paula? Crap! Which one was the Bond villainess? Claudia Aguirre is Domino. Larga Fiona. Luciana Paluzzi. This was the first. See, when I think of Thunderball, me and my dad actually both agree with this. She is one of the standout things that comes to mind when we talk about Thunderball. she's because she was the first, when you think about it, the first real Bond villainess, be it a henchwoman or just villain. Because and Doctor No, there is. I mean, you get like women who are trying to stop Bond, seduce Bond, whatever. But there's no real like antagonist, villainous character. Technically, and yeah, I mean, in Russia with Love we have one, but we don't. We think about her, but not in the same context as like a Blofeld or Goldfinger or anything like that. And we don't think about that with Fiona either, but Fiona, the character Fiona, stands out very much as the first real villainess, who's very much a part of the story too. That's, I think, another thing that separates her from the, I can't remember the character's name off the top of my head from Russia Will Up, but I think that's what separates her from the other one, is the fact that she is very active in the movie, interacting with Bond, seducing Bond, and say, oh yes, Jen's Bond, who makes love to a woman, and all of a sudden she's thinking the price of the good and all that, and say, oh, I can't win them all. Yeah, that, and me and my dad both agree, it's like, she was, my God, was she attractive. Is it, now, we were also kind of trying to figure out, like, is it the red hair? Is the fact that she was just very attractive? Is the fact that she's a bad girl? Is it the accent? Honestly, we kind of both agree it's kind of everything wrapped into one. And the way she goes out, too, it is a kind of a, I will say this, it's kind of one of those Bond deaths where it's like, wait, what? Because she gets shot in the back taking the bullet he was going to take, and he moves his fingers to reveal, like, the blood. It's like, wait, so he boom, boom, and then closed his finger again, like, boom, boom. I'll be honest, or was it that she got shot and then he kind of moved his hand to cover up the spot? And basically, could you keep an eye on my friend? She's just dead. I'm on the one-liners. But I mean, I remember a lot out of this movie. I remember the Shark Tank scene. I remember him diving. I remember obviously the plane going underwater. I remember the opening with the jetpack. I mean, this introduced more of the gadgets a bit. An angry widow. Ringo. Oh, James, are you okay? Oh, no. I can't remember the exact line, but it's like, oh, no, he didn't like me very much. It's one of those Bond films that I can always sit down and watch it from beginning to end if I so chose to. There are other Bond films where I'm like, I like these films, sure, but they're not ones that I can just pop on and go from there. Still, I mean, it is still one of the better Bond films, I imagine. It's got one of the best Bond songs, definitely. Like Tom Jones singing, Thunderball. He's like, yeah, I mean, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Absolutely. Again, great villain. I'll say this. The Bond girl, Domino, is a nice Bond girl. It's fine. But, and this is weird to say, and we'll talk more about it in Never Say Never Again. They don't do an actual good job of illustrating what her relationship to Largo is. There's only one line that Fiona says that kind of implies they were a thing, and it says he tries to make love to your woman. It's like, is that what we are trying to get at? Because if I'm looking at these folks, truth, to be honest, like, no, I think of her more like in his like care under him or something like that. Not that they're dating or banging or anything like that. That's honestly something Never Say Never Again actually did better. And when we get to that movie, we will be doing major comparisons for obvious reasons. They're just carbon copy stories, but surprisingly with differences. And that's actually that's actually something they did better. They very, very simply illustrated what the relationship with Largo and Domino was. They were in a relationship. There you go. Plus, they had Kim Basinger there. So, Basinger. They had Kim there, who was a much older, or who looked like an older woman compared to Claudine. So it made her made the relationship much, and obviously Largo was much younger than Adolfo. So it made sense, in that movie, Never Say Never Again, Largo was much younger than this Largo. So it made a lot more sense that they were actually, it was clear they were a couple in a relationship. Either way, still, it's just something that I thought of, and I realized, like, after rewatching Never Say Never Again, I'm like, yeah, they illustrated that more in this one than they did in the other ones. Weird. But either way, no, it's still one of my more favored Bond films. Definitely not I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's in the upper half, definitely. Either way, though, that is my thoughts on Thunderball. Do you love Thunderball? Do you hate Thunderball? Do you just like it? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll be back with 2 more Bonds to be catching up, because as of tomorrow, it'll be the 9th, and I will have caught up to everything that needs to be caught up. And the way I do things, I'll probably be doing these in sets of 3. That way, I won't have to be like remembering to do a video every day. I actually will have it pre-recorded. So that'll hopefully be beneficial. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that bell if you want notifications. Like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see you folks later. Bye.